So the Rebbe was talking about different things concerning Parshas Tetzaveh when he was saying the Sicha, plus some things having to do with also Parshas Kisisa. And he says, Bascholos Parshas Kisisa, the beginning of Parshas Sisa, or Kisisa, Medubar Oidus Nesinus Machza Shekel. It speaks about the giving of a half a shekel coin towards the Mishkan, towards etc. But like it says, V'nosnu ish kaifer nafshe l'Hashem, every person should give the atonement of a soul for Hashem. Zeh yitnu, this is what they will give, machza shekel, a half a shekel, l'chaper al nafshe seichem, to atone for your souls. Shebezem mudgeshes ha'avoida the birur hamata, and this is emphasized, the avoida of refining that which is down here below. Skip the parentheses. Shegam b'matzuv yorut, even in a very low state. Sheyesh tzorich b'kapora, where there's a need for an atonement. Nasis ha'avoida shel ba'ifin shel nesina, the avoida becomes in the way of giving. Skip the parentheses again. I'm sorry. Nasa avoida v'nosni yishkofer naf shel Hashem ba'ifin shel nesina, kol hanoisin ba'ayin yofa hu noisin. The Chazal say whoever gives with a good eye. In other words, when a person sells something, so then it's all calculated. This is how much you paid me for, this is how much I am giving you. But a gift, a person is not very limiting. They give it with a good eye. He gives to the Eibishter's entire being. That's why we call it Koifer Nafshi, the atonement of his soul. It's considered an atonement. V'ad l'tachlis ha'isach, of his entire soul, his entire being. V'ad l'tachlis ha'isachdus, the Nafshi Hashem, until a total joining of his soul with Hashem. Kimerumas gam betevas v'nosnu ish kaifer nafshi. It's also hinted in the word they will give. What does giving indicate? Top of the next page. What's this? 347, 346. This is an interesting point. Shnikras Yoshar v'hafuch. The word v'nosnu can be read backwards and forwards. Milmayl lamato, milmato lamayl b'shav. It can be read from down up, that was the end of the word upwards, or it can be read from the up down, equally b'shav. That idea that it is completely the same from both sides, vav nun, saf nun. So that shows vav nun, saf nun, vav. That can be read from both directions. That indicates this type of complete joining with Hashem. It's also, the Rebbe always speaks about the half a shekel, indicates we are one half and Hashem is the other half. And this is also the Rebbe connects in the footnote on the previous page. It's right before we have the story of Purim, where Haman was going to pay a whole bunch of shkolim to have Achashverosh give him permission to kill the Yidden. So Hashem already established beforehand, the half a shekel beforehand, to preventative medicine, and therefore that caused that the whole idea of Purim took place, the whole miracle of Purim took place. So he says in the second paragraph on page 347, not just concerning the unity and the elevation and the refinement of the person down here below, but it's also been a geulah birur ha'olam. Also, it's concerning the refinement of the world. Shemimachtis ha-shekel, from the half a shekel, skip the parentheses, nasu ha-adonim. The sockets for the Mishkan were made, that the boards and the beams were stood up in the sockets. Shehema yisoida Mishkan. These are the sockets is the foundation of the Mishkan. Umehem eviu karbonos sibur, and also from the half a shekel in the following, both in the following years, and then also they brought all the communal offerings. The primary function of the Mishkan, the Mikdash, was, like the Rambam says, Bayis LaHashem muchon lias makrivim by karbonos, a home for Hashem, ready to be offering in it sacrifices. Shadvorim she'agashim she'ba'olam nasim chelik haMishkan va'amikdash va'ad lekarbonos she'makrivim al gam haMizbeach. That the physical items in the world becomes a part and parcel of the Mishkan and the Mikdash, to such a degree that they even become offerings that are offered on the Mizbeach. Along with that, the Sichas Rosh Bnei Yisrael has emphasized the state and situation to raise up the heads of Bnei Yisrael, matzav shel isnasus v'harama, a state of uplifting, because the simple meaning kisisa is counting the Bnei Yisrael, but the fact that the Torah chose to use specifically the word kitisa means that it becomes raised up Klal Yisrael through it. Not just they're raised up, but in Klal Yisrael itself, even the head of the Bnei Yisrael becomes raised up in a way that they are separated from the entire being of the world. Came therefore after we effect a refinement in the world, that it becomes a home down here below. Their entire existence is incomparable to the existence of the world. Yidden and the world are completely of two different qualities of existence. Therefore, not only are Yidden called Ivrim, Hebrews, Al Shem Avram HaIvri, just like Avram was called Avram HaIvri, the Hebrew. And why was he called Ivri? Ivri is a play on the word Aver, side, that the entire world was on one side and he was on the other side. So that's one advantage of Yidden, that we are completely distinct. We're on the other side of the entire world. But like we are called in Megillas Esther as Yehudim, Al Shem Mesiras Nafsham LaHashem, because of their devotion and self-sacrifice for Hashem, Shenasim Chadim Atzmusi Yisbarach, they become one with Hashem's very essence. Now, earlier in the Sicha, he spoke about, it was also Shabbos Parshas Zocher. This is a combination of a few Sichas that Rebbe spoke in Shabbos Parshas Zocher, the idea of fighting Amalek. So it's the idea of battling the negative. So he's going to connect this with what he spoke about earlier. Tess, last line on the first paragraph. Yesh Lahoisef, we're going to add, the advantage of the war with the opponent. It's not just to emphasize the perfection in the avoid of Yidden, even when Yidden are in such a state, when there isn't a godly revelation from above. Their avoid is in the way of their own will, free will, and free choice. When you take on the negative, you also have the advantage of refining that which is down below. Through the descent and the service of refining that which is below, we draw down the revelation from the most highest level, Atzmusi Yisbarach, Hashem's very essence, that's beyond the entire definitions of above and below. That through that level that transcends higher and lower, that enables that even something which is low can be refined and transformed. Not just the idea of sublimating the klip, but even transforming darkness to light. Specifically in the place where darkness becomes a revelation that Hashem himself resides in darkness. He's beyond the level of light. He's completely concealed in darkness. So in the darkness down here below, when we transform it, we draw down from Hashem's essential darkness that is beyond light, that he comes down here. A level of godliness is beyond the entire category of revelation. Hashem's essential concealment, until the very essence of the light and the luminary, till Hashem's very essence. This idea of this transformation of the darkness is hinted in Megillas Esther, and this idea of what's going on in the transforming of the darkness is, we see this right away b'shmosh al Megillah. In the very name of the Megillah we find this. Megillas Esther. Why is it called Megillas Esther? Where mudgish ha'inyan the Helen v'Hester, the idea of concealment and covering, is emphasized. Maimer Chazal say, Esther min ha'Torah menayin. Every single part of Megillah, they try to find a mocker in the Torah. They find, where do we find the word Haman, where do we find Mordechai, and so on. So where do we find Esther? Shenamar, like it says, Vanoichi hastir astir pona be'emahu. Hashem says, and I will surely conceal my face in that time, during the time when the Yidden end up in Geulah. So Megillas Esther, by its very name, indicates the darkness, the concealment. To such a degree, in the entire Megillah, not even a single name of Hashem's names are mentioned. Loi Hashem is Hakadoshim, not his holy names, which a person may not utter if they're not in a clean state or if they're not in a clean area. But afil Hashem Mishalomatim Hashem Havai, not even the names that are lower than the name Yud Kei Vav Kei, Hashem's ineffable name. Va'afil Loi Kinuyim Bilvad, even nicknames of Hashem which do not have essential holiness, if we call him the compassionate one, that doesn't have a din of a holy name that you're not allowed to erase, you're not allowed to mention in certain places, but even those, even a nickname for Hashem, even a name that doesn't have holiness is not even mentioned in the Megillah. There's no explicit reference to Hashem in the entire Megillah. Vas Cholos HaMegillah, the beginning of the Megillah, Vahi b'mei Achashverosh, was in the days of Achashverosh, Kol Prate and Yom Sheva Megillah. All the specific details are in the Megillah, Kshurim v'Shayachim liyimei Achashverosh. In the explicit sense, they're connected and associated to the days of Achashverosh, the history, the occurrences of his days. Melech Goy, a non-Jewish king. Melech Poras, a king of Persia. Shenikra Achashverosh, is called Achashverosh. The Chazal say, what is the deeper meaning of the word Achashverosh, the name Achashverosh? Al Shem Shehuch Shcheru Pneim Yisrael B'Yam Avchul, because the Jewish people's faces darkened in his day. In other words, it means they were in a very bad state because of him. Against all in all, but Maimid Matzav Shal Helm V'Esther Davke Mizgalas Mailas Avidosim Shal Yisrael B'Koyach Atzmam, specifically in a state of concealment, becomes revealed the quality of the avoid of the Yidden on their own. Shenas Shleimus HaKabbalah the Matan Torah, that specifically then the Yidden had the ultimate acceptance of Matan Torah, like it says, Kimu v'Kibla Yehudim, the Yidden fulfilled and accepted Kimu Masha Kiblut Kvar, that they fulfilled what they accepted already at the time of Matan Torah. There was a self-sacrifice in all the Yidden without any awakening from above. They weren't forced into it. They could have chas shalom assimilated. In the way of self-sacrifice, in a way it's beyond reason, which is indicated by Bechinas HaGeulah. The level of a lottery is not a logical way of picking something. It shows on something that's beyond logic. So Purim, which is called Purim because of Pur, who are Geulah, because of the lot that was thrown, which is the Geulah, which shows on the connection and the devotion that the Yidden had with Hashem completely in a super rational manner. Similar to the avoida of the lots that was thrown on Yom Kippur to choose which goat would be offered in the Beis Hamikdash and which one was let out to Azazel. Achas Bashana, which is the one day of the year, Shaboy Meir Geulah B'chinas HaYechida, and Yom Kippur shines the level of Yechida of the person. Achas Shabenefesh, the one of the soul, Sheb'chinas Yechida LeYachdach, it's the Yechida of the person, is to join with Hashem. Shemesachech Desim B'chinas Yochid, that becomes joined with the level of Yochid. Adlam Husi Vatzmusi is Baruch to Hashem's very essence. V'lachein lo niskru Geulah Shmoi Shal Kadosh Baruch Hu. That's why in the Megillah Hashem's name is not mentioned. Since the revelation of Purim is from Hashem's very essence, that's beyond any names and descriptions. So there can't be any names in the Megillah, and there can't be any descriptions, and not Chan Varachim and so on. And the Rebbe in a footnote mentions that what it says Kimu v'Kibla Yehudim, it says that also on those that accompanied them. So Rashi says that who's those that accompany them? Also on the converts, Rashi says in the Megillah, that when the future would convert to Yiddishkeit, to become Jewish, that conversion is also something just like the Mesiras Nefesh of the Yidden was something that was done of their own. The same thing, those that converted is the idea of it's something that's done, something completely out of one's own free will. Okay, last paragraph on this page. The Geulah and this revelation, it's drawn down and permeates in the days of Achashverosh, meaning, like we said before, it's in the days of a Goy, a Persian king, etc., etc. Also in this low world that's under the influence of time, b'matzavim, and the situation, the achritz v'reishis u'mashu of the last and the first and what's between them. It says that Achashverosh is also hinter Hashem, that Achashverosh can be like a combination of two words, achritz v'reishis shaloi, the one who the end and the beginning is his. So even when you have a time frame of end and beginning and everything in between the end and the beginning, Misgalus ba'alusish kol echad ve'echad miYisrael al olam ba'ofen she'achris v'reish shaloi, becomes revealed the ownership of Yidden, of every single Jew on the entire world, that just like the Eibishter, the end and the beginning is his. So the Yid also reveals that. When a Yid has revealed by him the 2 points, reveal that level that connects the two opposite points of the end and the beginning. Not only that, but through revealing this part, all the negative things in the world become transformed and becomes turned over, that the Yidden will rule over their enemies instead of the way it was the other way around. Until many of the nations of the land became Jewish. This is similar to the perfection and the completion of the transformation that will take place when Moshiach comes. So just like it says by the Megillah, the same thing Mashiach's times, it says ve'efech ha'amim. Like the Chazal say, mismach Geulah leGeulah, that we always want to make one Geulah, one redemption, closer to another redemption. That's why Purim is celebrating the second order to be close to the redemption of Pesach. From the Geulah of Purim, we come to the Geulah of Pesach, which also includes the future redemption. that Allah Namar concerning the future redemption, it says, Ki Meitzeis Chomer Mitzrayim, Aren Neflois, like your days going out of the land of Mitzrayim, I will show you wonders, because the Yitzias Mitzrayim is the beginning of all redemptions, including Moshiach's time. So by having Purim close to Pesach, that means we're going from Purim straight to the final Geulah as well. The Rebbe also says that in the footnote, that this idea that the Jews, the people that converted to Yiddishkeit, even though initially it became something that was not of their free will, it says, Ki nafal pachda Yehudim aleihim, that was only initially they did so because their fear. But afterwards they were willing and devoted and totally transformed themselves to want this and be devoted to this. Second paragraph on this page, we could say that the connection with the future redemption is hinted also at the conclusion of the Megillah. Like it says, Vayishlach Sfarim al Kol Yehudim, the letters were sent out, he's calling it Sfarim, to all the Yidden, Divrei Shalom ve'emes, words of peace and truth. Va'ad l'siyum v'chasama mamish, until the conclusion, the real last words of the Megillah, Shalom l'chol zari, peace to all of his seed, that speaks about that what took place by Mordechai, Avas Yisrael, V'achdas Yisrael, love another Jew, and unity of all Jews. That's through the revelation of the Yechidah. And when we have the Yechidah of every Jew revealed, so we see our commonality, and we see how we're all equal. By Deizim is Mevatlim Sibsa Golus. Through this, the cause of the Golus becomes nullified, because as we know that the cause was for the lack of peace. So when we speak about peace, we're talking about that which heralds Geulah. Will be Botla Siba Botla Mesuv HaGolus, when the cause stops, so the consequence of this, which is the Golus, ceases as well. You say them as even more so, it becomes transformed to good. Then the idea of peace becomes perfect and complete. The Geulah mitzvah shlema, the Moshiach tzedkeinu, b'chinas haYechidah, and the true and complete redemption through Moshiach, the level of Yechidah. By the way, in a footnote, the Rebbe also says about Achashverosh is also about ishapcha and transformation, because beforehand Achashverosh was this way, he was supporting Haman, and then he was completely said, you now write, however, he told Mordechai, now write whatever you want for the good of your people. So in other words, it's also about transforming darkness to light. Also, the Rebbe brings that it says also that
that's what I would think. Either that or Home Depot. So
that the Rebbe was saying over here in a footnote, another point, that we find that when Moshiach's times, it says that the Rambam uses the expression that all the fast days will become transformed to days of rejoicing, and then he concludes with the words "Va'emes va'shalom ahevu," and that peace and truth and peace they loved. And so again we find this connection between, just like in the Megillah we have this idea of words of peace and truth, the same thing concerning Moshiach's times, we have the same idea as well. So we see how the idea of Geulah is hinted in the language of the Megillah. V'ad kedei kach, to such a degree, Geulah ha'ilu shenasai de'biru v'africhs ha'choshech, the great advantage that comes about through refining and transforming darkness. This is one of the reasons that specifically Megillas Esther is not ever to be nullified. It will never cease. Not like all the other Sfarim, Kipsak din Rambam, like the ruling of the Rambam, Kol Sifrei HaNeviim, B'chol HaKsuvim, all the books in the Neviim, and all the books of the writings, Asidim Lebot L'Mois Mashiach, will be nullified for the days of Mashiach, chutz from Megillas Esther, except for Megillas Esther. Varei Kayemes, it will go on and exist, Chamishu Chumshei Torah, like the 5 books of the Torah. Okay, halachas shetoresh v'apeh she'enim b'toilem lo'olam, and like the laws and the rules of the oral Torah, the halachas, the mitzvahs that never cease. Yemei haPurim lo yibotlu, the days of Purim will never cease. Shenamar, like it says, Yemei haPurim ha'elu lo yavram techa Yehudim v'zichram lo yosef mizarim. These days of Purim will never pass from amongst the Yidden, and their memory will never cease from their offspring. Since the refinement and transformation of the darkness comes about through a very great revelation that doesn't become nullified, like the candle in the noonday sun. That's the issue that's brought down in other Nevi'im. Other Nevi'im is a revelation of a candle in comparison to the revelations in Moshiach's time. So therefore, a candle in the noonday sun is not something visible. But the Purim revelation is so high that even at the times of Moshiach, it will still be a powerful revelation. Even concerning the great quality of the revelation of Mashiach's times. And the Rebbe brings in that this is also the reason why Hanukkah will not cease, because Hanukkah is also about the transformation of darkness to light. And this is also the idea of the halachas of Torah Sheba'al Peh. The halachas of Torah Sheba'al Peh is about differentiating and knowing this is kosher, this is not kosher, this is permitted to be done, this is not permitted to be done. This person is right in their court case, this person is wrong. This is all about taking the darkness and transforming it and elevating it. And when we transform the darkness into light, that is the very essence of Moshiach that should come immediately in our days.